What's up, guys? It's the Gary and Jason show, Dialogues and Dialects in Tech. Today is July 3rd, and this is the very first show. So we want to welcome everybody. What is up, Gary?
What's going on, brother?
How's your day going?
It's going great. I'm excited to be here.
Glad you could make it. It's raining outside, but nevertheless, so if you hear some raindrops in the back, don't mind that. We are recording live from my humble abode in West Philly. And we are very excited to, this has been a project that's been in the works for a while, so we're very excited to debut it. We have a great topic today that we're going to talk about. But before we get into that, we actually want to give each of our backgrounds a little bit. So let's start with you, Gary.
All right.
Let the folks know a little bit about you.
Coming in hot.
Right.
Coming in hot. All right. Yeah, let me tell the people a little bit about me. What's going on, y'all? I'm Gary, and first and foremost, I love what I do. What do I do? I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an educator, and an ecosystem builder. So I do a lot of different things that allow me to put my creativity to work and just tap into my purpose and my passion for making a difference in the world. So I've been a startup founder, worked on tech startups. I've participated in pitch competitions. I've launched my own accelerator programs, won all types of awards and whatnot. But at the end of the day, for me, it's about solving problems and building a better world.
Love it. Love it. Listen. This is the guy right here. You see my shirt, Afro Technologist? That's
a cool shirt. Now, how do I get one of those shirts?
We're gonna talk about that.
All right.
But I got one for you.
Okay.
But so for myself, self-taught programmer, probably about the age of 12. Started my first website development company when I was 16. Went to Howard, majored in finance, but kept doing the website thing. Then I got into, of course, app building, right? So the iPhone came out around 2004, 2007, I want to say. But eventually graduated from websites into apps. And so my first app is Katika. We launched back in 2018. And it was a way for people to find, or is a way for people to find Black-owned businesses. And so we're about to relaunch this fall. Very excited about that. And very much like yourself, I'm a Afro Technologist, meaning I build tech specifically for our people.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love it.
With that said, unapologetically. Oh no,
it's important.
Yeah, the deficit is too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So we need that work.
Yeah, for now.
We're
working on it.
We're working on it. We're going to build that, like you said, ecosystem where everybody could, participate. But for right now, we got to build the digital Wakanda.
That's it.
That's what I like to call it. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and get into our topic for today.
Let's do it. What are we talking
about? From what we had a early discussion, Gary and I, about a lot of different things. What should be the first, topic of discussion? So we didn't know whether to start off with talking about startups or incubators, accelerators. But you said let's take a step back. Let's simplify things really quick and recognize what technology allows us to do or what it can represent. And the word that we settled on was freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll let you dig into that a little bit first.
I love freedom.
I love it too.
I love freedom, and therefore I love entrepreneurship.
Yep.
Because I believe that entrepreneurship can be used as a vehicle to pursue and achieve freedom, right? Financial freedom, independence, like launching your own ideas, taking things out of your head and bringing them to life in the real world is incredible. And nobody can take that from you, right? And regardless of what materials you have in front of you, technology enables us to, as we learn the languages, as we learn how to use and leverage technology, we can build things from scratch, like take these thoughts and ideas out of our head and create $1 million or $1 billion companies that go on to change the world, right? This is how we build generational wealth and impact for our communities. And that's why I love entrepreneurship, because at the end of the day, it's rooted in freedom and, pursuit of happiness for everybody. Like whatever your goal is, you can achieve it through entrepreneurship.
I love that. Now, my question would be, what would you say is a barrier that you have seen in terms of people reaching that freedom through technology? Because, we both read these publications every day, like TechCrunch and, Fast Company, and we see different companies raising millions of dollars. And it just seems like their track is a little bit to freedom is a little bit easier than ours. So, without just saying because we're black, I think there's other underlying reasons. So, from your experience, what would you say is a barrier to that freedom for black people?
Yeah, the barriers are everywhere, right, and in everything. But it starts with us, right? It starts with us realizing that if we believe in ourselves, we can achieve whatever our goals are, right? So if we want to be free and we want to leverage entrepreneurship and technology, then we need to learn entrepreneurship and technology, right?
That's it.
And there's like there's that saying that like nobody likes, but they say, you want to keep something from a black person, put it in a book, right? And no, first of all, black people read.
Clearly.
Right? Of course we read. We are well-read, well-educated. I went to University of Delaware, by the way. I didn't mention that. Right. But we're representing like the White House on this couch, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think, first of all, we have to believe that we can do it too.
I just caught that. Hold on a second. Time out. I don't know if you guys caught that. Howard, UD. Yeah. Biden.
We out here.
All right.
We out here. We'll break that down in a different episode.
Right.
You know what I mean?
When you said it, I was like, oh! But continue.
I feel like I got a lot of those. So get used to them.
Okay.
But yeah, so it starts with us believing that it can be us too. Because if you think entrepreneurship is only for, rich white males, it might be because all you see in the news and the media and on podcasts and all the success stories look like Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, right? Jack Dorsey, all white guys like leading the billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies that are the tech giants of the world.
Yep.
And that sort of puts something in your mind where it's like, okay, that's what success in that space looks like.
Right.
So until you see someone operating successfully in this space, you don't see yourself represented. You don't think, okay, that can be me. So first and foremost, like it takes people just saying, you know what, I can do that too, regardless of if they look like me or not. I can do it. I will do it. We're both doing it in our own arenas. And I think that, the beauty of what's going on today is there are a lot more black people succeeding in tech, raising money, launching their own investment funds to invest in people that look like us.
That's right.
So I think, what it really boils down to is it starts with us believing in ourselves, because the barriers are going to exist in, whether it's in tech or education, nonprofit, it doesn't matter.
Any sector.
Racism is everywhere. Right. But we don't let that stop us.
Absolutely not.
What's your view on it?
So for me, and it kind of speaks to the first version of Katika, I looked at technology as a way to connect the diaspora, right? So despite, the atrocities that happened, during the transatlantic slave trade, so you fast forward to today, 2021, technology is universal. And when you look at the diaspora, it's like we can all be connected through that. Cell phones have a 98% penetration rate in Africa. Like that's their equivalent of like laptops and desktops, etc. So for me, technology represented a way to really reconnect again the diaspora, but then take it a step further to economics, right? So how can we all come up together through leveraging technology, and building, as you mentioned earlier, like an ecosystem. So our idea was to create a transatlantic economy, if you will. So if I'm in America, can I buy products from South Africa? If I'm in the Caribbean, can I buy products, from folks in the UK or something, right? We have a lot of Caribbean folks in the UK. So for freedom for me and technology, I would also say so there's a lot of different industries, right? You have fintech, you have ed tech. So technology has penetrated a lot of traditional industries. But what that's allowed to happen is folks can start a business or a company in those industries. So whereas before it may have taken, I don't know, $100,000 to start a healthcare company, you might be able to start a healthcare company with $5,000. I know that sounds crazy, but the economies of scale have really changed that much. And so, yeah, if we're able to leverage technology, there's a way for us to become economically free, health-wise free, mentally free, education-wise free. So I believe that that's ultimately going to be our saving grace. I mean, it's literally like in our hands. We use it every day, but how do people use it, right? So if you're going on your phone and you're just scrolling on, Instagram, Twitter, and you're just absorbing content, you're not producing content, you're not producing anything of value, then, you're not going to see any effective change. But if you flip that, get more educated in entrepreneurship, learn a coding skill or how to design, now you have some skin in the game, and you may not even run the company, but you could work for a startup company, and be a part of it, something special. So I would surmise that, yeah, I think we should definitely be leveraging technology in order to reach levels of freedom in all areas of our lives.
I agree. And I mean, tech is in everything, right? So
Right.
even if somebody is like, oh, I'm not in tech, I want to start a business, but it's going to be, a traditional small business. Well, okay, guess what? You want to open an apparel line, right? You want to start an apparel line and have your own hats and your own t-shirts. You're probably going to sell that stuff on a website, right?
Facts.
That is technology. You have a tech startup. If you are going to be selling like your apparel at a farmer's market or flea market, right? Like you're probably going to show up with a Square, card reader, right? That's technology. So tech is in everything that we do, and we're paying all of these different companies to use these different services and platforms, right? Like
Right.
even if you didn't build your website yourself, like if you're using Squarespace, right? And you pay, I don't know, 20 to 30 bucks a month to host your store on a website, right? Like Squarespace is is taking that profit, right? They're making money off of you
Every month.
every month.
Yeah.
If you are using that Square card reader to accept payments, right? So people can swipe their cards to buy your stuff, a percentage of that is going to Square,
Right.
right? So these are all like tech companies that we're using every single day. Like
Yeah.
it's
And don't even realize it. Like,
don't even realize
they're
it.
woven throughout our lives now, like to the point where it's second nature. You're like, oh, let me just Venmo you real quick. Let me just cash out you real quick. But 5-7 years ago, that didn't exist. Like, it is really funny. I would say, while you were talking, something else that I thought of. I think there has to be some type of recognition of the generational gaps and the digital divide that exists within that. So I think about, okay, you have folks like Steve Jobs, that's baby boomers, right? Where are our equivalent of like black baby boomers that in tech that you can like really put up? Like you see a commercial here and there. Now they're trying to, show like, oh, this person worked for, IBM back in the day. He made a cell phone or something. I don't know, part of something, but it's like we really don't have, like to your point, those figures that you could go and point to and be like, that's a guy who made it in tech. So you go down the line after, baby boomer, what, Gen X. That's like Elon Musk and that generation, Peter Thiel, people that invented PayPal, YouTube, that's their era. eBay, that's that era. Where were our websites during that era? Non-existent. Go to the next generation, millennials. Now you got social media, Mark Zuckerberg, Snapchat, different things like that. It's like, so I don't know. If you do this exercise, you just see that there's a digital divide, and then just a lack of representation from generation to generation to generation. And so now we find ourselves in 2021. Everybody's like, hey, we're raising these funds for black tech startups, but where are they? We can't find them. It's like, well, the startups. Now, granted, now they're starting to come out like, hey, I'm here. We do exist, but there has to be a level of support from within our community for our startups. So because there's such a deficit of knowledge of technology from an older generation, they don't have, they do have the capital to invest, but they're hesitant because they don't understand the platforms or the different dynamics of technology. So I think that's also like a barrier, if you will, for entry, if you will.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I could tell, I can tell this is going to be an awesome podcast.
Yeah.
It's series, whatever we want to call this. But, to your point about not having those examples, I think part of it is it's not that they don't exist, right?
Right.
They don't exist at that scale and at that level most times, but there are plenty of hidden figures, I'm sure, right? Yes, in all of these spaces.
Right.
And we think about, even with PayPal, right? They call that group the PayPal Mafia.
Yep.
It's all men,
Mm-hmm.
primarily white and Asian men, I believe.
Yep.
Right, and based in like San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were to make a movie and look through the lens of hidden figures, I know for a fact there's a bunch of people, women, black and brown people, that should have been included in that story.
Okay.
That were not.
Kind of just put to the side. Got you.
In some way or another.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
I mean, we've got, and I would love for us to do our own research and come back with like, hey, here's a black man that helped, start the internet.
Right.
There's a book called Race for the Net that I have to look more into, that I believe is about a black man who basically invented the internet, right? And didn't get his.
We will be back with that info.
We got that. There's a woman named Shelley Archambault. I think she was the first black woman to work at a tech company, a large tech company in San Francisco or in Silicon Valley. And I believe it was Verizon. But again, something to circle back on.
Yeah.
Right. But I think it's like more people like that they're like, movies aren't made about them. You know what I mean? The books aren't written about them. That's why we make our own movies, write our own books. But I think that it's up to us to tell that story of, hey, here's successful people doing this, this, and this. Because even for me, like, I didn't see myself represented in tech until it was like 2018. 2018, I went to Afrotech.
Okay.
Actually went to Afrotech, conference put on by Blavity, company, black-owned tech company. And that was the first time, like, I flew out to San Francisco, and they had 2,000 black people.
That must have been a sight.
2,000 black people, like in this venue on like the San Francisco Bay, right? In this space, just talking about technology, entrepreneurship. Like, my man Rodney Williams, who I believe is a bison. He founded a company called Listener. So he's up on this stage. He walks up onto the stage, like, blasting Kanye. Like, he's got some Kanye song, like, as his intro theme. He's got this whole, like, gold thing behind him that's just like, it's like, who is this guy? Is he a rapper? Is he an artist? Like, what is he about to do?
Right.
He gets up on the stage. He's like, I'm Rodney Williams. I'm the founder of Listener, and we transfer data through sound. And he starts talking about his company, and I'm like, yo, black people do this? You know what I mean?
Like, we're in that space?
Not only do black people do this, he listens to Kanye. I listen to Kanye. Like, he's chill about it. He's not he hasn't sold himself out. He's not trying to pretend like he's this and this. Like, it was the most just authentic thing.
Stay true to himself.
That was it. And everybody was like that the whole conference.
That's awesome.
And the fact that it was just all these black people, it was 2,000 black people in this space together, talking about tech, when in reality, when we go to these conferences that are not focused on Afrotech, typically, like, it's like two black people at the tech conferences.
I'm one of the two.
Yes. So it was just like a really crazy moment to experience. And just through that, I saw myself represented on different stages, like black women talking about user experience design, like something I was studying at UD, right? And the first time I saw myself, like, oh, I could go work at IDEO. I didn't even think that I could work at one of the leading consultancies in the world. Right. Like, but I see a black person doing it. Like, I can do that too.
There you go.
So the power of seeing it is,
gotta see it.
Yes.
So that, I think that might be a good place to end it. So, in summation, I guess you want to leave the folks with some final words.
Yeah. Well, it's July 3rd today.
Right.
So we're talking about freedom for a reason, because 4th of July is tomorrow. Someone's Independence Day. It is someone's Independence Day tomorrow.
It's someone's.
And, I think especially with like this year, right, and like the Juneteenth that we had this year, where like every company and corporation is like is acknowledging it, giving people off. Like, coming out of last year, was an incredibly challenging time for all of us, but especially black people. Freedom is something that I'm in full pursuit of. And I actually quit my job in March I took a job during the pandemic,
Yeah.
and I quit my job in March. And am very intentional about just regaining my freedom, retaining my freedom, and like maximizing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, sort of what I leave everyone with is just challenging yourself, like, either today or this week or this month, like thinking about how are you going to pursue the freedom that you want in your life to the best of your ability, because, freedom is freeing.
Yeah.
There's nothing else like it. So I'm not going back. I'm gonna tell you all that,
Right.
and we're gonna share a whole lot more on this podcast about
Absolutely.
how we're pursuing freedom through entrepreneurship and technology.
Yes, we are.
But I would leave everybody with that to continue to chase freedom.
Chase freedom. So that is your homework. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the first episode of the Garry and Jason Show. We hope to see you again. Take care.
Peace.
Peace.